Pitcher, Atlanta.
After a long off-season, weeks of prep and sleepless nights.
My mindset? I basically have no mind at this point. I'm a nervous wreck.
Draft day is finally here.
A few people I am going after. The odds are I will not get any of those people, but I'm going to try.
Sold. Ohtani for the Squirrels.
But this isn't any old fantasy league. This is the oldest league in the world.
We are the Luddites.
The Spin Doctors.
And the Foster Loggers.
The Gambles. We won last year.
Oh God, it's me.
And Peter Gethers, proud owner of the Fish, has been playing this game longer than anyone.
Sick to my stomach. This year I'm more nervous because I'm going in with no money. I've got to be patient, which is not my best thing, then swoop in like a shark and try to get cheap, good players. Fish 7.
44 years ago, Gethers sat around a similar table and unintentionally became one of the 11 founding fathers of fantasy baseball. They weren't trying to start a new national pastime. They were just having fun. It was the off-season, and deprived of baseball, Dan Okrent had an idea. Let's draft an entire team of real MLB players, fill imaginary lineups, and calculate stats based on their real performance. Spring of 1980, he gathered 10 fellow baseball fanatics to play the game they dubbed rotisserie baseball.
A friend of mine said, "There's this thing that has your name all over it. Are you interested?"
They were more than interested. All 11 were completely hooked.
We realized that this was the most fun thing in the world. I spent way more time doing this than my job. We thought we were real team owners. That's what it became completely deranged. First book.
Remember, this was pre-internet. Day in and day out, they kept all the stats by hand.
We would get USA Today and do our baseball stats in pen and paper, and then somebody would total up at the end of the week. I mean, it took hours a day, and it was fantastic.
Nothing was off limits to get an edge. They even took trips to Florida for spring training just to scout players. If Gethers was watching a game and saw one of his players get hurt, he'd call the team to get intel.
For like the first year, they would say, "Oh yes, he's going to be out for 6 weeks." I would immediately trade him. After the first 2 or 3 years, Major League Baseball actually told all their offices, "Don't give out information to these lunatic fantasy baseball fans," So that ended that.
They were having the time of their lives.
But it never occurred to us that other people would actually want to do this.
Pete Alonso, 29.
Fast forward to today, more than 50 million Americans play some form of fantasy sports. Statista says fantasy is now an $11 billion industry.
We totally missed the boat.
They did have their chance. In 1983, someone offered them $1 million to buy the league and build it up. But they passed, partly because they were hell-bent on protecting the word rotisserie.
And so everybody else around the entire rest of the world went, well, okay, we'll just call it fantasy baseball.
But to them, it'll always be rotisserie.
Because the original meeting with all the owners was at a restaurant called La Rotisserie.
La Rotisserie on 52nd Street is long gone, but the little game they created is seemingly everywhere. And looking back, Gethers isn't surprised it caught on the way it did.
It's a combination of the joy and the agony of owning a player, and you get totally obsessed with it. Still available?
44 years later, he's still obsessed. They're still playing the old-fashioned way, and he's still fine-tuning the art of the draft.
This is sad. I did not do well. I think I'm doomed to total failure. So I'm trying to slink out of here and hope that no one recognizes me.
But it's a long season, and he holds his head high, thinking about the millions now playing along with him.
We did this for fun, not for profit. And so it's really satisfying to have done this thing that's now so popular.
Steph Manacero, New York 1.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. For more stories in your communities, click the subscribe button right here. You can also download our app or watch us on TV for the latest news and weather updates every 10 minutes and more. We'll see you then.